All right. Welcome back, everybody. We have another early impression knife review for you today. And today we are talking about the Pena large swayback. So, this is an absolutely gorgeous knife manufactured by Riot for Enrique Pena. This is a large iteration of a design that he has already had great success with the standard size swayback. So let's get into the specs of this knife really quick, get those off the table. So we have a blade length of 3.25 inches with an overall length at 7.38. We have a Bowler M390 Wharncliffe blade with a gorgeous hollow grind. This blade rests on ceramic bearings with a ceramic detent. We have a titanium bolster, micarta scales, titanium clip and backspacer, and then a hidden lanyard pin right here in the back, just in case you should want to put a lanyard on this knife. So let's talk about my impressions. So as someone that picked up the original Swayback, I was not impressed with its size. Those of you that know me from Instagram, you will notice that probably every single knife in my collection is 3.5 inches in blade length or above. That just seems to be my sweet spot, is around 3.5 to 3.85 inches is right in the area where the knife's not really, too big to pocket, but is also big enough to do everything that I want it to and fit in my hand well. You hear a lot of people talking about, hot spots in the hand or things not fitting, the ergonomics being wrong. And my main problem is size. My main problem is it not fitting in these ham hands. This knife being under that, a quarter inch under that sweet spot of 3.5, I actually do not have any issues with this knife fitting in hand or being comfortable. The function of the knife in the hand is very, very good. I'm not typically into front flipper knives. I like to have, the flipper on the back, but the functionality of this one with the front flipper rounding across the top is you can deploy the knife with your index finger as well as thumb, however you want to do it. There are multiple ways, and I do kind of like that. No thumb studs to get in the way of the blade, no hole to get junk stuck in. It's just a nice, simple flipper. The swedge or the sway on the back of the knife actually makes it fit very well in hand, both in a forward grip and a reverse grip. So if you were wanting to jam into things and do a draw cut, this knife is almost made for it. I mean, it fits in the hand so well for that draw cut, though I'm never going to use the knife in that fashion. I'm a pretty traditionalist where this is where my knife is going to rest all the time. And I know that I've talked about that in other videos. The hollow grind on this knife is impeccably done. The edge was perfect when I received it. A lot of knives, I'll, kind of touch them up on the strop, or some of them that have come from a few of these overseas makers, when I receive them, they will have, you have your bevel and you want it to be identical on both sides, but you'll have one edge that's like really, really shallow and one edge that's really, really steep. I will typically take the time to get the wicked edge out and make those uniform. So choose one of those edges, whichever one's easiest to mark up, and balance those out. With both the original Swayback that I received, the Mula, the Mini Diesel, and now the large Swayback, I've never had to do that with any of Pena's knives. And I think that that's predominantly because of them being produced or manufactured by Riot. When we're thinking about the three kind of big overseas makers with WE, Bestech, and Riot knives, it's pretty easy to see that Riot seems to be a cut above the rest. Fit and finish on the knife is really, really beautiful. The knife design is eye-catching, and you really don't want anything to be taking away from that with kind of variances or problems or little nitpicks with the knife. Going into the micarta, and this is one of the easiest ways that I have seen, especially recently, to, if you didn't know who manufactured the knife and you took a knife from We, a knife from Bestech, and a knife from Riot, all with the same exact materials and set them side by side, I can pretty well guarantee you that I would pick out the one made by Riot, and it's by their micarta. So it might be really hard to pick up on the camera, but this micarta is absolutely flawless. All of your kind of grain lines, if you will, going through the centers of the scale, they all look wonderful. The outside edge or the profile of the knife is also flawless. There's no little tiny threads where the epoxy may not have binded to the micarta very well, or maybe there was a sanding issue or a cutting issue or something like that. I don't find that on the Riot knives. It could just be the luck of the draw that, it just so happens that every one that I have received has been perfect and flawless, or it could be that their manufacturing is just a cut above the rest. And I think more the latter than the former. So the micarta is absolutely perfectly done. The other thing that I really, really like about knives manufactured by Riot is just how perfect all of their screw heads are. So these screw heads have very, very great angles. Everything's nice and clean. When you stick a fresh bit in there, it fits perfect. Even a bit that has just a little bit of a wobble, you stick it in there and it seems like these screws just fit it like a glove. The contours on the inside of the screws are very, very defined. And I have yet to strip out a screw from Riot. I have broken a screw from a Riot knife, but that's a whole nother video we'll go into at a later date on a knife that I picked up secondhand that somebody did terrible things to. Back to the Pena. The clip, which is probably one of the spots on a knife that I have the most issue with, and one of the primary reasons for me not pocketing a knife is the clip. This clip works wonderfully. On the small, I did have some issues with the clip going in and out of pocket. I wear really heavy denim jeans because I'm working in dusty, dirty, debris-filled areas. I want to make sure that I have a denim that's not going to rip the first time that I catch it on a nail. But because of that, a lot of knife clips don't fit in my pocket or are very uncomfortable in my pocket, snagging on things, coming out of the pocket, sticking out really, really far. There are a bunch of little issues that I have with clips because of that all the time. This clip, I don't have any issues with. Absolutely zero issues with. In and out of pocket is absolutely effortless. It has a nice slim profile, so it's not snagging or scratching anything that you don't want it to be. And the design is just simple and elegant. Very, very nice looking clip. So let's talk about finishing thoughts. Let's wrap this review up nice and short. The size of this knife, let's just do an out of 10 review on this. Seems simple enough. Out of 10, I would say that this knife is a 9. I think that for my personal use case that it could just be that slightly bit larger. I think if he had it at a 3.5-inch knife, that this thing would be absolutely perfect for me. I think that it would put it into fitting my hand perfect. The blade would be the perfect size. But 9 out of 10 for that. Fit and finish is 10 out of 10. I am incredibly impressed with every part of this knife. The micarta, the screws, the blade, the grind, the function, how clean it arrived. Absolutely everything about the knife, 10 out of 10. use of the knife, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Reason for the 9 out of 10 is this hollow grind blade is one of my absolute favorites. I love hollow grind blades. Nice and thin behind the edge, nice and pointy tip that is needle-like. So if you're stabbing into things or really wanting to be slicey, this blade performs that very, very well. And the only reason that I would dock it a point is again because I wish it was just that tiny bit longer. Overall, I think that this knife, if you're a kind of classic design knife person, I think that this is a guaranteed pickup, something that I think everybody should at least try, even if it doesn't stay in your collection forever. I think that it's going to be a staple of Mini's collection for quite a while to come. I also think with the release of this in the large platform, that we can probably hope to see some really other cool things coming out of Enrique's designs. And I've actually been saying this to a lot of the chat groups that I'm part of. If the Mula was just slightly larger, it would have been a for sure keep for me. If the Apache was slightly larger, it would probably be a keep for me. So I would really like to see Enrique drop some of the other designs in a little bit larger platform. And then I'd really, really be excited to possibly even see some of the big sellers maybe come out in an XL series. I would be first in line to pick up a Swayback XL. And I think that probably, at 3.5 or 3.85 inches in blade length, that this knife would really be a contender against some of those other large frame, large body, large blade knives. So if you get a chance to pick up one of these, I know that they are sold out on Enrique's site, but if you can find one on secondhand market for trade or a good price, pick it up, try it. I think you'll love it. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this video. I tried to keep it as short as possible. I'll see you on the next one.